Item support is really important. That's why we're making room for it in the homepage. Also, the team is important, so we'll create a small section that will contain a reference or a link to an About Us page. The footer will be pretty simple as well. It will contain a list of links to all the pages on our website, as well as a newsletter subscription form. So let's begin. We'll start with the support section. For that, let's actually duplicate the customer section, because we do have some things that are really familiar. Yeah, so duplicate it like this, and let's call it support. Now the background, we'll actually change it. We're going to use a new color, F8, F8, F5, and let's actually add this to our palette. We're just going to call it additional 4. The text here is going to be H2 center, so we're going to use that style, and we're going to say something like 27 support, 24/7 support. We're going to delete all of these. The navigations will be actually nav down light. We'll change that, and nav up light, since we're on a lighter background. And this actually nav up. There we go. And then let's add some text. And the text is something like this. Our themes have 6 months of free support, and head over to this page, which links to the support page for additional details. Now the color that we'll be using is 878476. Add that as additional 5, and its width is 555. Align it in the center and position it at 120 from the item above. Now below this, let's go ahead and add a button that says submit a support ticket. So for the button, we're actually going to use a familiar style, which is this one here. But we're going to change things up a little bit. So if I go here, I'm going to change this BTN secondary on light. I'm going to change this border from this gray color to just pure black, but with opacity, until I get kind of the same effect, which is around 40%. And this will allow us to move the button on different backgrounds, and the border will be colored depending on that background. And also for the fill, I'm going to go with white, but get its opacity down to 0. So what that will allow me to do is to duplicate this button on this background. So for example, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to select BTN secondary on light, and I'm going to change the radius to 5. And right now, see that it has no background, and the border gets a color that's relevant to the background it's sitting on. All right, now this button should be 60 pixels in height, so it's going to be like a default button. And inside, the text should say submit a support ticket. The style here should be BTN secondary light BG, so exactly the same. And let's make this button bigger, 300. Align everything inside, and we're gonna rename this to BTN default secondary. Let's also create a symbol out of this. Align it in the middle, place it at 120 from the text above, and then 60 here, and 60 here. Okay, and that wraps things up for the support section. Now let's duplicate this, and we'll create the team section. Okay, now the team section will have a different color background. We'll use the primary color here. And then it's going to be the H2 center dark color. And we'll say here 100% passion. So, instead of saying support section or team section, just put a text that's relevant to that section. For the text, let's put something more relevant. Something like this, like a small description of the process that's going on. For the actual color, we'll be using the additional 2. So basically the same color that we're using for this one, for the heading, which is FAEFDF. And for the link here inside, we're going to use the normal text color, like that. All right, so that wraps it up for the support section and team section. Now, to finish things off, let's continue with the footer. For that, we're going to have to increase the size of our canvas just a little bit. And oh yeah, let's actually rename this to team. And let's start with the exact separator that we used to, well, separate our hero area. So hero separator, we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it in, and we're going to align it to the bottom of our page for now. And let's bring it up like that. We'll call it footer separator, and let's group this as footer. Inside of footer, let's actually insert a navigation up light like that, position it on the center and at 60 pixels from that separator. We'll have 4 columns with links to all the pages of our site, and then, as I was saying in the introduction, we'll have a sign up form. So let's start with a text that says the name of the website. In my case, it's just going to be acme.com. And we're going to create a new text style for an H5 that's aligned to the left. So that's going to be Futura, book. The color is going to be the muted text color, and the size will be 20. And also we'll add a 1 pixel of spacing between characters. And let's create a new text style, H5 left. All right, this will be aligned, let's see, at 60 pixels from the navigation. And it will be aligned with our grid, just like that. Now for the actual links, let's start with home. We'll use the normal text color and normal text. So TISA Pro regular 20, and the line height will be 30. Let's position that at 30 pixels from the title. And then let's add the rest of the items like about us, contact, support, maybe terms of use, and maybe privacy policy. All right. And that is column 1. Column 2 should be for the shop. And here we're going to have shop index, categories, cart, and checkout. And then we'll have column 3. And let's duplicate this and create column 4. Column 3 will be for account. And here we just have one link, my account. And this last one will be get social. And it will contain links to Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. Now, if we look at this, notice these are not looking too good aligned like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to first rename these and create an offset of 1 column. Create all of them and basically push them 1 column to the right. And now in the same space here, we're going to create our sign up form. Start with a rectangle and use the grid like this. Position this at 60 pixels from the columns above. And now we can actually hide the grid. For the background, I'm going to use light BG, but I'm also going to add a border to it. And the border will be 97, 97, 97. Or actually, let's go with the light border like that. So DB, DB, DB. That looks much better. Now we're going to use a text inside. And let's say sign up to be notified of new theme updates and new releases. So we're being very clear on what they're signing up for. Okay, we're going to use Futura for this. Basically, it's a heading. It's going to be heavy and 28. So we're creating an H4 style. And we're going to say H4 left. Okay, we're going to put it at 60 from the left, 90 from the top. Its width will be 765 minus 120, which is 645. And then underneath, we're going to have the actual input. So for that, we'll first create a form label that says email address. And we're going to use, let's see, Futura again, muted text. It's going to be book, and it's going to be 16. And we're going to create a new text style for this called form label. And also let's add 1 character of spacing there. Okay, let's push this down to 60 pixels. And then underneath, we're going to have the input. So let's start by typing an email address. Let's put that at 15 pixels from the label. And underneath, use the line tool. Let's draw one that's about 300 pixels in length. For the border, we're going to use the light one and position this at 15 from the actual input value. And, we can bump this up to, for example, 360 if we feel the need to. It depends on how many characters you're willing to accept. But since it's an email address, it can be very long. So you can even go higher than this to like 390 or 420. It's really up to you. But I'm going to keep it at 360. Now, the other thing that's left to do is add the actual sign up button. So for that, let's actually insert a symbol that's called btn default secondary. And inside, we're going to exclude text value from symbol. And that allows us to put in another text, but keep the rest of the styling, which is very, very good. So we'll just say sign up, and we'll put this at 60 pixels there. We'll resize this so we have a 90 pixel padding bottom. Now, this button is a bit too big for the text inside. So what we can do is actually create a new symbol, and we can call this btn default secondary short. Yeah, and we can actually resize this and make it like 150. And this will be used specifically for shorter buttons. There we go. And finally, we just need to add the footer text. And we'll just use the typical text style. So TISA Pro, regular, 20. Align it in the center, align the text in the center, and then position it at, let's say, 90 pixels from this form. And with that, we've actually completed our page. Let's move this in, and we are done. So let's do a quick recap. Starting from the top, yeah, we have the menu. The header should actually be above the hero. So that's why there was a bit of an issue there, but it's all resolved now. Here, you're going to see if you're using Sketch, there's a small discrepancy. It's because Sketch sometimes messes things up when it comes to aligning pixels correctly, but it's no problem. And then we have our hero area, theme preview, and then customers, support, team, and finally the footer. Now, a lot of these elements will help us in the upcoming lessons, will help us create layouts much faster because they're already done. For example, the header, the footer, we just need to copy and paste them, and half of our page is basically already done. And with that, we've completed the home page. Now let's get on to the shop related pages, and coming up next, we're going to build the shop index.